A recent study of over 150 males has concluded that people with lower IQ are likely to have a larger penis size, meaning that low IQ that word is a little big for me, probably more your department.
The findings were found to be statistically I've never been much of a reading man.
Now, how many thousand is 150,000? Is that like a billion or something? They didn't really do numbers in this special classes, so maybe we do your teleprompter.
When you say teleprompter, is that what that box thing is? Is that like a mailbox for computers?
Can we take a quick break? I got like a guy on my screen and I can't get him out. Do you know how to get rid of these?
Hey, Ryan, word of advice, these Stone Cold Steve Austin figurines, they don't taste as good as you think they would.
I mean, personally, I'm more of a model train guy. Oh, God damn it, I put my shoes in the wrong hands again.
The boys. It's the BOYSCAST. The lads. It's the BOYSCAST. The dudes. Prepare yourself for BOYSCAST. The bros. It's the BOYSCAST. The homies. It's the BOYSCAST. The dudes. Experience the BOYSCAST. The BOYSCAST.
We are here at the BOYSCAST, and to get Danny and you pumped up, just some Friday motivation.
Yeah.
Want to get people jacked up. Want to get people amped up. A little guy who goes by the name of Grant Cardone.
If I made $400,000 a year, I would be embarrassed with myself as a husband, a father, basically as a human being. You guys haven't done the math.
That's right.
Because you cannot live on $400,000 a year. And if you think you can live on $400,000 a year, I might have to go back and add number one. Nothing. Anybody can make $400,000 a year. All you got to do is show
Anybody.
up. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. You guys don't need to agree with me.
Well, listen, here's the thing, Grant Cardone. I personally would be embarrassed to live on $600K a year. So I actually think that.
How do you like that, Grant?
Grant Cardone says he would be embarrassed to live on $400K a year. $700K a year, I would puke. I would look myself in the mirror. I would end it right there.
Your kids would be starving. All 8 of your kids would be literally starving.
Do the fucking math.
Dude, you're in the lineup. Think about how much of a jackass you must feel like. You're at a food bank in line waiting for scraps, being like, I make $400,000 a year.
You're a bum.
I'm at a food bank right now. What has happened?
Well, do the math. $600K a year. That means you got $50K a month. I spend that on escorts alone, Grant Cardone. That is my escort budget.
I love how he followed me recently on Instagram for some reason.
I know, he did
follow him for like every episode for 2 straight months.
Someone who works with me messaged me on the Patreon. He says he's all right.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Grant Cardone, I just want you to know, I have a friend of mine, right?
Yeah.
I actually have a brother.
10x it. You have 10 brothers now,
I have
Ryan.
10 brothers, right? Brother of mine dropped his phone. I was laughing really hard. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I picked up my phone and I said...
Really bad karma for you, but...
I'll tell you what happened to my brother. It wasn't that. My brother looked at me and he said, I got a promotion. I hope you're happy for me. I'm going to be making $250,000 a year. At that point, I started laughing. I go...
Yeah, you should do my job.
And then I call him. I go, listen, seriously though, how much did you make? Like that's hilarious.
Sure.
I'm glad we all shared a laugh, and I do appreciate you that, because everyone should laugh.
Sure.
How much are you actually making? And he said, no, I'm serious. At this point, he started crying. I kept insisting that I seriously want to know how much you're making. He's bawling his eyes out, right? Yeah. And then I look at him and I go, you make $250,000 a year. I no longer have a brother. I have a sister. And that's what I said to him.
And also with that comedy act, you're going to be opening me for opening for me on the road.
You're going to be opening for me on the road? And then he said, well, I make $600K a year. I go, well, that's not going to be happening.
All right, you're not the host. You're the feature now with that kind of jokes.
You've already started your negotiations at a low point. That's the second rule that I've taught you.
Messed up.
Yeah, so I think I guess his point is he's like, you should always aim up. It's just like,
yeah, sure, great. I mean, I guess, like, again, in entrepreneurship, theoretically, if you have a good enough product, like, once you're like, okay, well, I made one sale, I guess theoretically, like, if I figure out a way, I can make 1 million sales. Like, you're not a lawyer.
Is that what you say, that you walk away from a guy after you sucked his dick for $40? You go, theoretically.
No, because the problem is when you suck a dick, you go, well, I can only suck so many.
Scalable.
It's not scalable, right? What he does is scalable. So then when you have anything that's scalable, you go, I could.
But what if you had an army of men sucking dicks with you? you.
Well, but then I don't get to suck the dicks, and then what am I doing at
Then
that?
what
am I doing at that point? We're just capitalist scum living off of the fucking.
That's what I do. I walk into you walk into a brothel and you go, you. All of your salaries combined, triple it. That's how much I made last month. I spit on the ground. I walk out.
They go, what was that guy about? Yeah, I don't know. We lost a sale though.
Dude, I love Grant Cardone these days. He's the pinnacle of that type of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, hey man, that's what you got to be though. You got to be this braggadocious dude on social media to I guess if you're just remember that one, like it's the same as the guy who's like,
I know.
Yeah, if you don't have 6-pack abs, fuck out of here. You're not working. You're fired.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he's like, yeah, I don't actually fire people, but...
Well, it's just so funny because it's like they're trying to be the most extreme guy, but then why not be like, anyone who doesn't make $1 billion kajillion is a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's just by taking a thing that you're like, okay, how many people make over 400K a year? Like, I don't know, less than 1%. So he goes, 999 out of 1,000 people are fucking scum.
Yeah. Literally, his whole thing is like, hey, you watching this right now, you're a piece of shit.
I actually think that if you don't make $1 trillion yesterday, that you fucking belong in a dumpster with me pissing on you.
You don't own the Federal Reserve. You're scum. You're pond scum, pal.
The episode 2 of Bugman vs. Bugman, we have decided will be available now. Well, not exactly now, an hour and a half after this podcast has been
You have
released.
enough time to
After you're
watch
finished
this
releasing
podcast.
this.
Go fry up some dogs, maybe steam them.
It is a big competition. Patreon.com/TheBoysCast. We put a lot of effort into these. We have a lot of special guests. If you're going to listen to the Patreon episode, do that after because we are going to have spoilers on there probably.
Sure, yes, we will. Yep. Yeah. That's a good.
And that was for our goal of reaching...
I fully memory hold this whole thing, by the way. I don't, if you tell me, I don't remember anything that happened. I'm going to have to watch the episode.
He's bordering on spoilers. Let's move on.
No.
And this is your goal. This is for reaching our goal of 2,500 patrons. So very much appreciate everyone.
The dogs.
So it is available now. The Bugman vs. Bugman. Now, I just want to know, have you copped the Never Surrender high tops? Yes or no?
No, and I'm a fucking idiot because they're on eBay right now for like $7,000.
Oh, your mind's working, eh?
Well, no, because now I want them because they're so fire.
Woo!
I mean, he's got to support himself somehow.
Buddy, he did move a lot of fucking sneakers.
Well, it was only 1,000 pairs though.
It is hilarious.
Guy, that's like his interest expenses on his most recent, I
know.
Like that's his daily interest expenses.
Yeah, it wasn't the best scam if he's only going to sell 1,000 of them.
He's paying on his not settlement. What is it? His court whatever, like the $350 million, whatever it is.
I definitely want to talk about that.
Claim,
but I'm more interested in the meantime. Before we move on to talking about his thing, I want to know what your thoughts on the Never Surrenders are.
Little gaudy for my tastes, but literally,
they look like a wrestling shoe.
They do look like. I mean, they basically look. Yeah, they look like just a normal Nike Air, like maybe an Air Force One or like a Adidas high top, but
kind of,
all gold with some American imagery. Nope, eagles and stuff on
now,
there.
do you think there will be other politicians following suit? Can we expect
the Ted Cruz's,
the Honest Teds? The Honest Ted's toe shoes, the hiking shoes that have the toes in them. Nancy Pelosi Reebok pumps, and it's like the two tits or the pumps.
Oh, that's
so
not
you're
bad.
Pumping on the two tits. That's what I'm thinking for her.
I'm gonna get the Pete Buttigieg's.
What are the Pete Buttigieg's high heels?
I was gonna say they're also sock shoes.
How about this? Nikki Haley combat boots, but you can only buy them for someone else because you would never go into combat yourself.
Right.
So they're combat boots that you
Take that, Nikki Haley.
They can only be purchased as a present for someone else.
Not bad.
Okay, I've got a couple more. How about this?
Yeah.
Chris Christie Crocs.
He looks like a
Chris Christie's Crocs for sure.
He would be a Croc man. Yeah, it's extra wide.
Okay, what are you thinking, Biden? Obviously,
Biden are just New Balance, like those just orthotic New Balance.
Orthotics.
Yeah, like
Velcro.
Biden's are like the mall walkers, you know?
Velcro mall walkers.
Yeah, they're like the Biden Velcro mall walkers.
Or slippers.
Easy slip-ons.
Yeah.
Just,
Velcros.
they smell like fresh baked cookies.
AOC, $12 million tax the rich runners, and they are $12 million a pair.
But there's only one pair you can buy.
You can but you can only buy them if you're middle class. So it's only
so nobody
$12 million, but they're only available to middle class people.
Not bad.
So Danny's been chomping at the bit to talk about this Trump. Danny, when this lawsuit happened, Danny told me, he was like, we might have to push the podcast back. I'm still grieving.
They're doing this shit in plain sight, Ryan. The thing is, all the people who are like the conspiracy nuts who are saying this is what's coming, and they're just doing it.
Buddy, I'll tell you. So when this lawsuit happened with Trump, and basically it's what was it, 350 mil he has to pay?
300? No, I believe it's 350 million. I believe there's an additional 100 million in retroactive interest.
Yeah, I saw that
on the 350. So I guess I don't know if that's part of the 350 or it's 450.
Okay,
I don't know. Either way, absurd sum of money. They're talking about Letitia James is like, if he doesn't pay this, we're going to take his buildings.
That's what I
in
saw.
New York.
Yeah.
Now she's like, legitimately, she's like, yeah, we have the power.
That feels like it would be like a debacle if they were like, hey, this is the day that we take down Trump's building. I feel like that would mobilize.
They're not taking down the building.
No, they're taking down the Trump name and the city owns it.
Yeah, the city owns it, and they're going to sell it to like Obama or something. It's going to be the Obama Tower.
Yeah. No. I do feel like that would be like a final straw for some people. If you want to see another insurrection, I feel like removing the T off the Trump Tower as people marching down to New York, right?
Rump Tower, that's all they do. And just a big photo of his big old booty.
They call it the Trump Tower. If they body. If they did take down the Trump Tower and replace it with the Trump Tower, I feel like people wouldn't like that.
Again, but what are people meant to do? They're doing this. Like, you know, as many people predicted, they're like, yeah, they're throwing the kitchen sink at him. It seems like, because it's all women who are doing this, by the way, too. He's really, the pussies are grabbing back.
Well, the judge was a guy. The judge was a dude.
Yeah, but it's like it's being brought forward. Letitia James.
You're saying this is the final form of a pussy grabbing.
This is the pussy everybody was awaiting. They say that revenge is a dish best served cold. And when he said, I'm grabbing the pussies, and the pussies are like, oh, you'll get yours, Mr. Trump.
You're right. This is a pussy.
Bonnie Willis or whatever the fuck.
This is definitely you go to have sex with.
And the chicken in Georgia. Like, it's just all these female whatever.
This is a grab and back pussy like you've never seen before. This is you going to have sex with a girl and alien style comes out of there like, and grabs your dick and just rips it off.
Dude, they're coming. They are throwing the kitchen sink at this guy.
Yeah. Well, when this first happened, I always try to like, because there is so much like fuzz to figure out what happens, you know what I mean? So I did try to do a fairly reasonable, like what are they saying he did, and then what is he saying he didn't do?
No victims.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like, I'm always trying to find like what's the most aggressive like anti-Trumper's best case, you know, what's the like steel man of like what he did?
They're like he did, I guess technically, I guess they would say what? It's just fraudulently valuing buildings, but that's a two-way street.
Well, it's a two-way street the reason why every building is evaluated differently is because they allow you to keep your building for tax purposes at the not rate it's actually worth. And the reason for that is if they didn't have that, people would just be getting kicked out of their houses from property tax.
But then it's also
that's the big reason. Like if you owned a house, right, and it doubled, now they're like, oh, you owe us an extra $4,000 a year property tax. And you're like, well, I haven't liquidated the property. So it would actually force people out of their houses.
I agree with that. But in his case, what he's doing for these like giant real estate deals is
he was using it as collateral.
He's using it as collateral, and they operate in a different thing. This isn't about property taxes, like the municipal taxes, which is a different thing. He's straight up like, hey, I own this property. I would like to borrow money against it. I think it's worth $500.
Well, this is I'll tell you the best case that I've heard against it. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's right or anything. Yeah. I'm just saying that this is what their side of the story is from someone that like, you know, feels pretty strongly about this. Yeah. They're saying what he did was he fuzzed it in the sense that he was just like, well, this is what my whole business is worth. And then it was kind of against his business, the collateral, which is a real estate business. Yeah. And then all of the individual property. So it wasn't against individual property. So he kind of fuzzed the numbers. That's like what they're saying.
They're saying there's some intangibles there, like goodwill, where you go, that's not actually worth anything.
No, it was the actual business, the buildings that he fuzzed, but it was part of a larger package.
But if any lender, like,
go check it.
They go do that's what their whole job is. Like if you're an underwriter, someone says, hey, I'd like to borrow money against whatever asset I own, and then I think it's worth X, and and they go, we'll loan you 50% against, loan to value or whatever. And then you say, this is what it's worth. And then they come back and they go, no, this is what it's worth. And we'll lend you 50% on this. Take it or leave it.
I agree.
And he goes, and they came back and they go, okay. And
when I looked at it, I did not see very convincing cases. It seems like the whole judge was like, basically they're all like, their whole platform was like, we're going to fucking take this guy down.
Literally, like Letitia James in 2018 she's like, he's not the president and I'm coming after him.
Yeah.
And then they're just doing what they said they were going to do. I don't know.
Even the Wall Street Journal was kind of like, they had a big piece that kind of came out. It wasn't editorial, but it was kind of saying like, with this and the Elon Musk thing, it's the whole reason why people want to invest in America is because it's predictable and doesn't seem so corrupt. You know what I mean? Whereas when shit like this happens, people are just like, well, I mean, I'm equally as likely to put my money in China where it's just as volatile.
like China,
judges can just like bankrupt my business out on a grudge.
Absolutely. Like China, you go, I'm going to buy a building there, and then one day you just go, the government's reappropriating your building.
Oh, that's Chang's Tower. It's now Mang's Tower.
Or whatever. And you go, yeah, you don't own that anymore, and thanks for coming by.
But actually, it's $10 to get in too, so pay up
or whatever. But
you came in all those times. We're charging you interest on those. So.
Sure. But at least if you buy,
just call it even, and you keep fucking walking, pal.
Yeah, but if you buy property in China, that is part of your model. You go, there's a X% chance that this happens. That there's like the government gets something happens and they take the whole thing.
I think there is a part of it too where it's kind of like it's sort of like the Shkreli thing a little bit, where there's these kind of things that are on the border that a lot of companies do. Like it was kind of, everyone knows you kind of fudge a little bit in this, but no one really gets dinged for it. And then they make like a huge example of someone, and then after that, kind of people are wary of doing it.
But again, he's not like the number one real estate developer. You're only making an example of him because you have a political grudge and he's running for president. Like, it's not like you're like, he's the most...
We asked some people we know, like a lot. Me and Danny have group chats where we asked a lot of people their personal opinions, like off the record, what do you think? Like, what is going on here? And most of them, actually, I guess all of them were like, no, this is like straight up activism.
For sure. It's obvious. Like I think it's pretty clear what they're doing.
Well, I kind of see that, but I mean, I'm just saying like, that is... I mean, yeah, you're saying it's obvious, and maybe I agree, but I don't think it's that obvious. Like, there's a lot of real, journalists and, TV stations being like, no, if you actually look at the thing, what he did do was this and this and this. They're sort of pitching like, no, he actually did do it, Yeah,
this is more show me the man, I'll show you the crime.
That's what I think. That's what I said in a text thread to someone. I actually think
it is that. It's obviously that.
Show me the man, I'll show you the crime.
They're coming, and look, nobody like Trump, like he's had so many shady dealings in the past. Of course, if you want to find something, but I'm sure Grant Cardone, I love you, Grant, don't take this personally, but I'm sure if they start digging through Grant Cardone, like literally turning over every single
that's what happens with big companies. They're like, oh, let's fucking dig into Google, and all of a sudden they have to pay out $200 million or whatever.
They go, hey, we saw you were like expensing this, we don't allow that expense, $200 million please.
Okay, yeah.
And you go, okay, the cost of doing business.
It does seem like show me the man, I'll show you the crime.
Yeah. Now, the question is, are they coming after him because they know that he actually is popular enough to win? So they're like, we're going to just handcuff his ability to even finance a campaign, which is possible. Because now they're saying that the money going out is more than the money coming in terms of his campaign donations. So, and if they're saying they're just going to seize his assets, that'll kind of put a hamper on things.
Yeah, they do.
Those rallies aren't cheap.
You probably make some money at those rallies.
I don't know.
What do you mean? He's selling out arenas. I think the rallies are money coming in.
Those are ticketed events? Do you have to buy tickets?
Fuck yeah.
Okay, I thought a campaign rally was like you're right.
I'm less convinced now that I'm talking.
Like, I don't think he's buying. I don't think like it's a politician. I don't know. Like, they have those $1,000 a dinner plate things where you like those are for sure campaign.
How much VIP tickets cost for a Trump rally?
But I'm saying like the people like in like the VIP. NASCAR fans going to see him in Idaho.
How to get tickets to Donald Trump's rally? What's the average cost to attend a Donald Trump rally?
I don't know. I could be talking shit right now.
No, I think he's making
like when he's like in a field, like in fucking Iowa. You're not paid
$25 for a Trump rally in Rapid City. Okay. So they do.
Okay. That's something.
You're making money at the rallies.
Well,
I think that's a part of his income. Is he's making Sebastian Maniscalco money at these rallies.
Aren't you embarrassed? Yeah, I figured that politicians don't charge money.
Okay, well, I thought it was funny that because Putin's opposition, Navalny.
Yeah, Alexei Navalny.
Yeah, he obviously got murdered.
Sure.
But Trump came out.
He died of natural causes.
Yeah. You don't want to be on Putin's
I was reading the
side.
St. Petersburg Times, and he died of he tripped.
Tripped and fell, landed on a fucking knife, did he? He landed on a bullet.
Two gunshots in the back of the head.
He's got fucking headbutting bullets. What do you expect? You're headbutting bullets. I mean, that's the kind of thing that happens.
That's what happens.
Well, I thought it was funny that Trump did a post basically saying, I'm Navalny in this situation. He basically said, if you see what's happened to Navalny, you kind of see the same thing happening to me.
Yeah.
Which it was like a pretty good troll to some degree because everyone's like, you love Russia. And he was like, I'm Navalny.
I mean,
it was a good reframing by him.
In this scenario, I mean, look,
so what do you think happens?
Case to be made.
So what do you think happens with the Trump money? Does he just not pay it? Like, what happens?
I don't think he can just be. He's appealing it.
Yeah,
but it's again, like there's a level of power above.
Dude, you can probably find these judges. You can like some of these judges. You can probably find them, posting like never Trump stuff.
Letitia James literally said he's not.
She ran on that. Yeah,
she ran. He's not the president, and then she's the one who's prosecuting him. Like, yeah,
that's crazy.
This is the definition of activism. Now, again,
it'll be literally if you get like QAnon shaman to be the judge for Joe Biden.
Yeah, and in her mind, she's probably like, no, I'm like Elliot Ness, and I'm campaigning on we got to bring down Al Capone.
That's of course what she thinks.
She's like, oh, like I'm John Gotti. Like we have to take down John Gotti, and everybody's like, yeah, John Gotti's bad and does illegal things. Right?
She thinks she's Bush against Osama bin Laden.
Whatever, yeah, it's not that.
Or another, you could probably even think of more examples of someone taking down someone else that she thinks she is.
Coyote and the Roadrunner, for example.
Definitely.
Just stuff like that.
Something like that.
But yeah, like it's crazy.
Well, also, they're not done, buddy.
I know that they're not done. He still
Elon Musk's things clumped in here, but it's just they're on that guy's fucking dick right now, man.
Yeah, but they're not trying to get him for anything criminal. Like they are literally trying to, like in Georgia, the election interference shit. Like they're trying to put him in jail.
It really does feel like
like there's one thing to ding a guy for money and you get sued, and once you get like really rich, part of the game is you get sued. Like that is just part of the game.
If he goes to jail, Trump, do you wake up in the morning, tie an American flag bandana around your head, and then hit the streets?
No, I go break him out. No, I'm a real patriot. You got January 6th was bad. Wait till the Patriots show up at the prison and try and break the president.
You get your helicopter license.
Yeah. You get 1,000 drones to make one giant bigger drone, and then helicopter with the ladder.
Yeah.
And you go, hop on, pal. We're taking you to the White House.
What would you do if you did all that? You took the helicopter, you land in the prison, you're breaking out Trump, you finally get him, you go, get in, Mr. Trump. He gets in and he sits down next to you and he goes, this is the best they could do? Bring me this fat fuck?
No, well,
would you leave him there, or would you still take him even after he started verbally abusing you?
Would
you drop him back off?
Assuming this is some sort of movie, and I'm like the main character in this movie rescuing the president. What happens?
I think you see yourself as the protagonist, but you were just like an extra.
Oh, okay. Well, in the scenario where I'm the protagonist, I go to get Trump, and then I look over there and I see Sam Bankman-Fried, and I go, Mr. President, give me a minute, and then he goes, we gotta go. I go, I got one more job.
And then you do hand-to-hand combat with Sam Bankman-Fried.
Hand-to-hand combat. He literally like pulls out a fucking shiv. I'm like hand-to-handing him.
And then you come back, get in the helicopter, and he goes, what happened? He goes, just kick the shit out of me.
Because he fucked me up pretty bad. I guess he was doing jujitsu or something this whole time. Anyways, let's
do you know how to drive a plane? My arm's broken.
No, I beat the shit out of Sam Bankman-Fried like Super Mario, where the coins start coming at him, just rocking him like dring, 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 all the coins for everybody.
Daniel, we gotta go. Daniel, that's Trump.
The Trump. Daniel, no, I can't do it.
It's hard to do Trump in that context.
Yeah, in that context.
Okay, so
I can't imagine him yelling.
Speaking of the deep state, because this is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I watched a movie called The Beekeeper. Have you seen this thing? Have you seen The Beekeeper?
I don't watch, honestly, I barely watch any movies anymore.
My friend.
I never know if they're going to be good or bad. I assume bad.
The Beekeeper is maybe the craziest movie I've ever seen in my life.
Good or bad?
Terrible.
Okay.
What? I liked it.
Okay.
Like Seagal style bad, but like crazy bad. So the whole thing is that basically there's the deep state of like there's this deep state.
Okay.
And they're essentially like fighters that come and beat everyone up and kill them if things get out of whack, because they're the bees, like how the bees.
Jason Statham.
So Jason Statham is the beekeeper, but he was an agent for, like, he was essentially one above the CIA agent, which is called the Beekeepers.
Gotcha.
And they're essentially like the deep state.
Yeah, they're dark money off the books.
And the reason is because bees are what keep everything in order, right?
Okay.
So if someone gets too powerful and it's bad, the beekeepers come and take care of them, right?
Gotcha.
But then he retires from being a beekeeper, and then he becomes an actual beekeeper. And they never really explained the correlation because
what don't you get?
Okay, but the actual beekeepers are like martial artists.
Yeah.
They go beat people up. Has nothing to do with bees.
Yeah, but I mean...
But then he's also a beekeeper after. So they keep using the bee analogies, but they don't really work. At one point, the bad guy comes in, he goes, "Hey, bee boy."
Is this in theaters right now?
I saw it on TV.
I was going to say, because I'm looking at this, I pulled it up, and they want you to pay $20 to watch this thing.
I think I paid for it.
You paid $20 to watch the
I paid
Beekeeper?
whatever it costs, my friend, because I thought the beekeeper looked good. It was up my alley. But honestly, I thought it was about a guy that was a beekeeper that was an ex-operative. Whenever I see ex-operative in the title, I'm
like,
sold.
and Jason Statham.
If I see ex-operative, you know you got me, my friend.
Okay.
But then this beekeeper business,
Yep.
he's a beekeeper. But then, so at one point... At one point in the beekeeper, the cop who's sort of fighting against the beekeeper keeps going, the reason he's... By the way, okay, I'm going to back up a bit. The reason the beekeeper is activated and gets back to his old ways is because there's these people that have a scam where they steal money from old people, right?
Okay.
They call people and steal, they have like a call center.
What's their race?
White. Buddy, oh my God.
What country?
My friend, do you know how this is so crazy? Do you know how normally
Eastern Europe, at least?
You would think so. It is a guy who looks like me or you, and he stands up and he goes, "We just cleaned out fucking John Adams' fucking $1 million, and let's go, woo!"
Oh, so it's like Boiler Room.
And he walks around high-fiving people like he's a finance guy that just made a sale because they put a fucking old lady on the screen. They go, "Just cleaned her at a house and home," and everyone goes, "Woo!" It's like 25 white guys walking around chest bumping each other because they just cleaned out another old lady.
I imagine none of their they're all like McGinneys and no Steins, I imagine. No,
my
Goldbergs.
friend, it gets crazier. This is just one franchise. So there's 40 of them, and they have I think they said 40 to 50, something around that.
Yeah.
And they're all little franchises with 30 people working at all of them on the call center, closing deals, cleaning out old people's things where they get their password and they clean them out.
Okay.
And they got like their scoreboard, like who's on the board. And they've got 50 of them. And this is like, there's one just downtown Manhattan. 50 guys go to work and just clean out old ladies all day long illegally, right?
Yep.
The cops can't do anything about it. Do you want to know why?
Why?
The one running these guys is the female president's son. So the female president of
the
America,
United States.
The female president's United States of America, her son.
So this is sci-fi, is what you're saying. This is a sci-fi.
They can't decide whether it's sci-fi or not.
I mean, if you say it's a female president,
there's literally
sci-fi.
one where he fights it's a completely normal movie, like military style, except for one scene where the other beekeeper comes and she's basically Kill Bill. She's got this like wacky outfit on and they're fighting and it's sci-fi for about 45 seconds and it goes back to a normal movie. So the lady that's trying to track down the beekeeper because he's trying to kill everyone keeps saying, she goes, the reason he's trying to kill the mom is because bees, when they make a defective offspring, you have to kill the queen, right?
Okay.
So they say that all movie and that he's doing these bee analogies, right? Like,
wait, so you lost me for a second here. Are we talking about the president, the queen? Like he's trying to kill the president?
The president of the United States of America
is now being tried.
Son son is running a 50 franchise, cleaning out old people illegally operation.
So basically a Hunter Biden scenario, and then they have to kill.
Hunter Biden runs 50 different insurance franchises where it's literally a bunch of guys walking around like, woo, just took another old lady's life savings.
Boiler room scam kind of things.
Yes, cleaning out millions of dollars from old black ladies in this thing.
Knows about it? Who? Are they implied that the president knows?
She kind of finds out about it at the end, and she says she's not happy about it.
That's it? She's just not happy that her son is a giant scammer?
Some of the money got used to fund her campaign financing.
Oh, so this is a little... I see what they're doing here.
Danny's back in. But they keep saying the bee analogies where they go Statham... Because they're trying to track what Statham does, and they keep saying, you don't understand, the beekeepers. Like anyone, even the president's son, he goes to call other people, and he's like, dude, I need to do something. And he goes, who is it? He goes, the beekeeper. He goes, honestly, I'd say your prayers tonight, because no one's ever...
I love how this is supposed to be this super secret covert thing, but everyone knows who this guy is. He's like a fucking Michael Jordan. Everybody just...
Okay, imagine... But also if you were a super secret thing called a beekeeper, right?
Yeah.
Once you retire, why do you go become an actual beekeeper? They never explain why, just because it's called the Beekeepers, why is he an actual beekeeper?
Got into beekeeping.
So I'm going to finish this point, is that they keep saying that he's trying to kill the queen because everything this guy does is bee-oriented, right? And then at the end, he gets in there, kills the son, doesn't kill the mom, and it had nothing to do with bees once again. They keep saying all these bee analogies, and then none of them actually happen.
Is there any Jerry Seinfeld?
So the only thing that has anything to do with bees is he's a beekeeper, and his other job was also called a beekeeper.
Right.
But none of the stuff he does is bee-oriented.
Well, I guess he killed the defective of the queen bee.
He didn't do it. He kills the son.
That's what I'm saying, though.
That's not what beekeepers do.
Because they have to kill the queen.
Beekeepers kill the queen.
Gotcha.
It honestly was hurting my brain. You're like, so why were you drilling it down the entire movie that he's acting in accordance with the bees if he's not?
Yeah.
So it had nothing to do with bees. So it was like, it doesn't...
Sounds pretty stupid, yeah. Seinfeld in it? Cameo?
From B-Movie?
From B-Movie?
He walks into the White House. He kills 800 people single-handedly, by the way. So
in the White House?
Oh, he kills them in the White House. So they have their other White House that they're at. So like their summer home of the White House. So there's basically like 45 people guarding the president's door. There's 45 people outside. And then he just sort of walks in, kills them all one by one, marches into the room where the president is, kills the son, jumps out the window and goes home.
Does he have his British accent, or is he doing an American accent for this?
I think he has an American accent, come to think of it, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
But he must have had an American accent.
Yeah, that wouldn't not that we're trying to make sense of this, but
the fact that the deep state's the beekeepers is so crazy.
Yeah, that sounds like a piece of shit. That's decent reviews.
I couldn't believe this movie was fucking nuts. And they keep revealing things like, oh, by the way, the son who runs who runs all these things, it ends up being the you know what the villains seem like? Do you know when you watch a movie like Ninja Turtles and the bad guys are almost like caricatures? It was really like a lot of it was like that.
I guess for action thrillers though, that is kind of what you got to do. Is you got to make them these it's got to be these kind of caricatures a bit.
I don't think that's true. That's not really the case a lot of times in these kind of movies.
That is like
it's more my genre than yours.
Yeah, action movies, I have not watched any.
It's only, I just literally scroll through before I see retired something. Retired operative, retired CIA agent, retired. That's the only movies I watch, man. Coming back for one last job.
I'm more of a Gran Torino type of guy. I just like an old man being racist, you know? That's what I like.
Let's go.
Just him sitting on the front porch, just being racist.
Nothing wrong with that, my friend.
Great movie.
Fellas, Prizepicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. It's the easiest way to play daily fantasy sports. It's demon time on Prizepicks. You can now win up to 100x your money with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. Demons and goblins are the newest and most exciting way to play at Prizepicks. Squares marked with red demons or green goblins, you get different payouts. You can now win up to 100x your money with as little as 4 correct picks.
Yeah, and it's honestly super simple to play. Like, I have it open right here. And the cool thing is, our boy Andrew Schultz, you can literally play against him and see his picks. Meek Mill, the rapper. But so I got my picks. It's Wednesday. There's some hockey games. You know I love my NHL. And so for tonight, my picks are, we have Jeff Skinner, more points, more than 0.5 points. Austin Matthews, more than 0.5 goals. David Pastrnak, more than 20.5 minutes on the ice. And a little fun, Toronto Maple Leafs, Simone Benoit, more than 4 hits against the Arizona Coyotes tonight.
So you just pop on over to prizepicks.com/boyscast. You use the code boyscast for a first deposit match up to $100. That is prizepicks.com/boyscast. Use our code, which is boyscast, first deposit match up to $100. And that is Prizepicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. You know that we got to tell the fellas about a little something called AG1. Because taking care of your health isn't always easy, but it should at least be simple. That's why for the last, I think, 5 years now, I've been on AG1 every day, no exceptions. Just 1 scoop mixed in water once a day, every day. Makes you feel energized, focused, nourished, strong, healthy, ready to take in the day. Every serving of AG1 delivers the daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre and probiotics, and more. It's a powerful, healthy habit, and that's also powerfully simple. AG1's probably the one thing that I've done that I have not missed, even on tour. I bring the travel packs.
It's great.
And there was once I was out of travel packs and I took a bag and I just put it in there because it's not something that I like to mix.
No. And it's the best, just the early morning stack coffee, AG1.
It's part of the routine.
Yeah, it's part of the routine. Literally just AG1 while I'm making coffee.
And it's an easy way to get in part of the routine, and you should already be probably drinking water in the morning anyway, so you just pop it in there, bing, bang, boom.
Bing, bang.
First thing I do, period. Healthy aging doesn't have to feel complicated. The thought of taking all these different multivitamins, you're mixing, you're matching, it can be exhausting and more importantly, forget. But just 1 daily scoop of AG1 covers my nutrient gaps and supports my mental, physical health without a lot of hassle. In just 60 seconds every morning, I know I'm giving my body what I need, setting up a sustainable habit for the long run. If there's one product I had to recommend to elevate your health, it's AG1, and that's why we've partnered for them for so long. So if you want to take ownership of your health, start with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/boyscast. That's drinkag1.com/boyscast to check it out.
Movie.
Have you seen that Peter Thiel is funding the steroid Olympics?
Yes, I have seen that.
So I actually looked into this a bit further, and it kind of acted like it was Peter Thiel's whole thing. Peter Thiel threw some money at it.
Yeah.
And we're talking like $5 million.
Oh, yeah.
So it would be the equivalent of if our boy was running a steroid Olympic competition and he was like, we gave him $50.
I mean,
like, you know what I mean?
Like, if you think about it, what do you got to do to really put on these games? You rent a track and field stadium.
Yeah, really.
Right.
And then you don't have testing.
And then you don't have testing, which saves money. You have some refs, and then you have prizes. Probably like $5 million is more than enough. I don't know.
They said it's more than enough. They said single-digit millions, and that was plenty. That's
I can't imagine. I don't know what
track. And it's getting a lot of press.
Yeah, I don't know what track and field meets are like professional track and field, but I can't imagine they're coming home with more than 50, 100 grand to win.
Well, the thing
I just think it's stupid.
That's true. And do you know why it's kind of weird though? Is because it might be so. Obviously, at first thought, you go juiced up Olympics, sick, right?
Yeah.
However, then you kind of think about it, and you're like, well, the best people in the world aren't going to leave their normal sport to go be in the juiced up Olympics. So you go, is the 7,000th guy in the world better than the first guy in the world, even if he's juiced? Maybe not. I guess that's the only question that's interesting.
I want to see
if they do it once.
Juiced.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. If they do it once and Usain Bolt still smokes this guy's time, then you're just like, so this is just like a amateur Olympics that doesn't do that good and everyone's juiced. No, thank you.
Yeah, you're going to get the second tier of everybody who would not. And nobody who thinks that they could be on a gold medal Olympian, which is, you probably think in every category must be realistically 50 people maybe who like in their minds are like, I could be an Olympian, maybe 40 people. I don't know. You're not going to get any of them because they want to be in the regular Olympics. So you're getting that next tier. So you have to figure at that point, even with juice, maybe they'll just be as good as.
Well, that's the only question. And if that question goes the other way, where it's like the number one guy not juiced beats the number 8,000 guy juiced, and you go, okay, well, this is done.
And like technique is such a big thing too. It's not necessary. I mean, SNL did that sketch.
I guess they have to give big money to poach. They got to poach like guy number 5.
Yeah, maybe. But the problem is one, I think if you do that, you're done.
That's
you probably have to catch them right at the end of their career where they're like there, but they know they're like, I'm not going to the next Olympics because it's 4 years away.
It would be like if they had the comedian like stealing jokes comedy show where you like use everyone's shows. It's like you'd have to be really on the way out to take a contract with the.
I mean, I want to see like weightlifting. Like, I can't imagine. I guess steroids would help with running, and it'll help with everything. I mean, it helps with recovery, I guess, is the big thing. So
you think RFK is juiced?
Yeah, I like.
What is he on?
HRT.
He's on HRT, right?
Some testosterone for sure. I mean, he wasn't. If you look at photos when he was in his 50s, he wasn't jacked like he is now.
I know.
Which is why too.
Well, he wasn't working out the same way. He was, too busy crushing sniz.
I guess, but I don't know about the working out part, but I definitely know he was nowhere near as jacked, and he's not super like he does not. I mean, he's 70. Like, I don't know. You expect a 7-year-old how much weight they can put up, but it's not like he's putting up crazy weight compared to his body.
There's a lot of chin-ups and push-ups, but they're weird.
Yeah,
he does ones where you just sort of wiggle your arms a little bit.
Well, he probably has like all fucked up shoulders and stuff. I don't know. I don't think a lot of 70-year-olds are doing chin-ups.
They asked me to do his benefit show in LA, and that would have been cool, but I was like on the road too much, and it was going to be a fucking it was just going to be like really one of those things where I'm already like really jam-packed, and it would have just been like an overnight flight to get there, do the show, to come back. It was just like too crazy. I couldn't do it.
I wonder if he'll have any sort of shot. It seems like all this turmoil and everybody's all mad about 80-year-old presidents. You go, well, there's a 70-year-old
Everybody's mad about it. Every time they do a poll, it was like most people, and I think it was...
I mean, it's crazy. It's literally you two 80-year-olds. It's never been one 80-year-old. There's never been one 80-year-old running for president.
Wasn't Reagan pretty old or something?
He wasn't 80 when he was running.
He had the Alzheimer's, but that happened. He was fine when he started.
But Alzheimer's was like, I think in later. I think he was fine when he started. But I'm just saying, he didn't start out like this is like an election between literally.
I guess in some of those other countries where they don't do elections, the guy just goes till he dies.
Yeah, we don't want that. I guess Trump's 77 now. He'll be 78 come the election. So.
Well, the question isn't, I mean, there's 90-year-olds that are sharp, right? It's just that the question is, like, are they sharp or not? And Biden's like, I'm not doing the tests or anything. They're just like, I'm not doing the cognitive test. That would be like, if you asked me to bench press like 500 pounds and I go, I got nothing to prove to you. I know I could do it.
Sure. Except for again.
I know I could take down the Beekeeper. There's no point.
Remember what the debate.
What do I got to prove?
The last debate was like between the two of them that Trump lost. I'm curious if they even, are they going to debate each other? That'd be crazy if Biden has to go. Does he have to? I guess he has to.
Yeah, they got to do a debate.
That'll be insane. They're gonna be jacking him up full of.
What was that?
Dude, they're gonna be fucking juicing him like crazy.
What now? Oh, buddy.
Now the question is he
marionette? They're gonna have strings coming down from the ceiling.
Now, is there a chance that
that string guy accidentally, Trump gets one of his string guys in there, accidentally gets him to do a Hail Hitler on his marionette arms?
No, the question is there a chance that Biden's Kaiser Sozeing this whole thing and then come fucking
I would say
debate time. He's just like sharp as a tack.
In my opinion, I would say 95% chance he's doing that. Yeah, I think it's most likely.
He's just this old feeble man. I can't remember anything. All this stuff, and then debate time, he goes, "Yeah, I'm good. Let's fucking rock this shit." And Trump's like, "Ah!"
He goes, "I've fallen and I can't get up." They go to run for someone. He does the back thing. You flip yourself back.
Remember Jack Palance? This is a really old reference, but at the Oscars when he was after City Slickers, he came out there and he was doing the one-arm push-ups.
This guy's just doing Biden's just doing one-arm chin-ups and then they come back in and he goes, well, where am I? So that's probably it.
Yeah, possible.
Now, most importantly, what I'm not happy about, and you know this about me, everyone who knows me knows this about me.
Yeah.
I don't like it when I see black creators getting, I don't see that, I just don't.
Clip it.
I don't like to see them losing things that they deserve.
Okay.
So in this case, we're talking about Rachel Dolezal. Some of you may know her. Now this
Black Queen.
This is a fucking
melanated
queen. This is a melanated queen
right here.
Woman formerly known as Rachel Dolezal speaks out after losing her job over her OnlyFans account.
Yeah.
Now the question is, did you check out the nudes?
No.
Really?
No.
You didn't spark your interest a little bit when JJ was sending us messages saying her body looked okay?
I saw the photo of her like in the lingerie.
My friend.
That didn't do a ton for
When
me.
you think Rachel Dolezal's out there, because first of all, she did her cameos.
Yeah.
She was crushing it on Cameo.
She was.
Then she was crushing it on OnlyFans. I don't get why she has to be a teacher. It's not making sense to me.
Yeah, and she's like a part-time teacher.
She had to change her name and go be a teacher, but like I don't get why. Like she got to be making pretty good bank on all her shit.
I don't know. I wonder. The cameo stuff I would imagine would drive. I mean, she's got kids and stuff.
I don't know, man. I thought she was
She's a
making
strong,
some fucking
independent
money.
black woman too, so she probably don't need no man.
She doesn't need a man, that's
She
for
don't
sure.
need no man.
But if you look at, buddy, if you look at what Rachel Dolezal's doing, if you type in Rachel Dolezal leaked, yeah, you are.
I'm just I'm
Type it in, you
seeing,
little fucking pervert.
I'm seeing $9.99 a month. I'm just seeing what her percentage is. Where we're at.
What top percentage she is.
Yeah, I can't see it. It doesn't show.
Danny knows the OnlyFans site in and out. You're going to want to type in Dolezal leaks, and you will see, my friend.
You'll be leaking if you know what I mean.
Buddy, I could crank one out to her, but more importantly, I have not. The crazy part about Dolezal, though, is she's doing everything. Like, you think someone like that, you go, oh, she's showing a few boobs, you know what I mean? Maybe some cleavage. Then this woman is bent over spreading her asshole.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
That is not necessarily what everyone does.
No.
Especially famous people. Like when you hear a lot of times like a famous person, that's like they're doing like essentially a Playboy shoot.
But she's like famous as like a meme.
Buddy, she's tried every niche.
Yeah.
She's holding her feet up for the people who like toes. She's doing like she literally is doing all of the things.
Buffet.
Buddy, she has a butter face, but she's not that bad for how old she is.
How old is she?
I don't know if you can find the age.
24. 46 years old.
Oh, it doesn't crack. That's the thing.
It does not crack.
Black does show crack though. If you fucking take a peek at these, she's doing all the stuff. She's bent over, spreading her fucking a-hole. She's not messing around, man. This isn't a titty, so she's laying it out on the line.
Got bills to pay.
She got bills.
The problem is it's such a competitive environment where you go, I'm Richard Dolezal. People go, yeah, I kind of remember you.
Yeah, she has no. This is crazy. The words that I'm hearing coming out of your mouth, because this Danny Polishchuk, everything this woman does turns into like a big tabloid news story.
Yeah,
and every time you become a big tabloid news story, 1,000 people probably sign up to see you naked.
Right. The problem is with the bad OnlyFans has very poor retention, is what I've heard.
Okay, so I'm saying she's probably got some cash, unless she was just blowing through it on.
Dude, you know what those spray tans cost? You know what the dashiki fucking bill is? You have no idea, right?
I don't
Your
get.
white privilege is really showing right now because you have no idea what a monthly dashiki budget looks like.
I wish OnlyFans showed you how much they made, man.
I thought that they do kind of have that like point. They say, you know, you're in the top. It doesn't really tell you how much, but I don't know.
Honestly, the body's not that bad. Bit of a butterface.
I mean, you would hope that she's at least like hitting the gym.
I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought she'd been disgusting.
The reviews are in.
Put it this way: if someone was like, "This is my girl," you wouldn't be like, "What?" It would be like not that crazy.
If I were her, if she needs money, her move actually right now should be pulling a George Santos and suing people for cameos.
I didn't like this suing people for cameos business. And I'll tell you, who really doesn't
in
like
this
it.
country, that might be the
So
move.
Santos is suing Jimmy Kimmel, and I want to say that's got to be the worst thing that could happen to Cameo, because 90% of people who get cameos, it's fucking they're messing with the people.
Yeah, I know.
Dude,
Well, but you could do it for personal, like if you want a message just to show your boys or something.
Santos gets
problem
paid
is
too. He could win.
He could win because it's Jimmy Kimmel. It's like it's on ABC or something. That's a huge like he could make a case. You go, yeah, you guys like you made money off of this.
He basically. So what happened is he was trying to get cameos off Kimmel, and then Kimmel basically.
No, Kimmel got him to make.
No,
cameos.
Kimmel was getting cameos, putting them on the show, and basically then Santos messaged him, and he's like, "Listen, this whole cameo business where you're messing with me, I'll allow it, but I want 20K."
Sure.
Santos will do anything for money, right? He said he wants 20K. Kimmel denied the 20K, and he just keeps like making him make them, and then now he's suing him, basically saying he's submitting fake requests, but like. You would think that he doesn't have a suit, but if he does win, that has to be bad news for Cameo, where it's like you mess with someone on a Cameo and now you're losing money.
I mean, in America, crazier things have happened in the criminal justice system in this country.
Some of them are happening as we speak, some might say.
I wonder what Trump's bills are like, huh? Those must be some fucking...
Do you think that a Republican activist judge makes Kimmel pay $445 million?
I don't know. I think what happens is they settle.
He makes him settles for Santos gets to be the host of the Daily of Jimmy Kimmel Show.
he gets Tuesdays on Daily Show.
George Santos is Jimmy Kimmel Show.
Yeah, I don't know. He gets what's the little short Mexican dude who's on the side?
Guillermo.
He gets to take Guillermo's spot.
Yeah,
Guillermo.
It's possible.
I don't know.
So you and we were talking about domain names.
Yeah.
And someone on the Patreon actually messaged and said that they know someone that can help you get your domain name back.
I think the guy wants like $40. It's just a.
And you just won't do it.
Simple thing. I got another one. I don't care.
I got another one.
Yeah.
Well, this is the problem, though. A lot of your domain names might be causing trouble right now because the Taliban shuts down queer.af platform that used Afghanistan domain because it seemed clever at the time. So what happens is, do you know how like .ca will be like Canadian sites?
Yeah.
And then .af is like Afghanistan sites.
Yeah.
So they essentially own all the .af.
Yeah.
So all these people were getting queer AF,
Yeah.
and then the Afghanistan government was looking at all the domain names.
Being like, what is this queer AF?
Well, yeah. But that's what I'm thinking. You have DannyGaping.af, and you might be in trouble for some of your domain names. So you might need this guy that can help you get back your domain names.
So I checked out Muslim AF. That's still up.
Gaping Jews AF, UF.
What about Jew.af? Is that a website?
Gaping Danny's AF.
Jew AF might be available.
Jew AF? I can't see.
No, it says sorry. Jew AF not available.
Okay, so someone's got Jew AF.
Yeah, unavailable. No, I imagine it's the country of the Taliban. It's like,
no.
There will be no Jew AF. No.
Yeah, so that's crazy. Anyone who got AFs, the Afghanistan government.
Yeah.
That must have been a scandal when they found out all these AFs, queer AF.
I can get Jew.fun. That's...
What about Jew.gay? Can you get that?
Jew.gay. I don't know if gay is Jew.gay. Jew.gay, $350 a year.
Buy it.
Not buying Jew.
Come on. He's so cheap, man, this guy.
Spending $350 for what?
Fucking cheapskate. I'll start a GoFundMe for Danny to buy Jew.gay.
And do what with...
Put your videos on there that you make.
Jew.gay.
All those videos you got in your camera roll you don't want people to see.
That'll be my OnlyFans.
I think I might start a GoFundMe to raise money for Jenny to buy Jew.gay.
It's $350 a year, though.
Well, you might only need 1 year, and then you'll be... But think about once you get
says why it's great. Jew.gay is easy to remember.
Once you get your business...
Jew.inc, $2.99.
What do you want with .inc?
I don't know. INK.
Why would you want that?
Why would you want Jew.gay?
Well, for your videos. And I think once you get this Jew.gay business up and running,
yeah,
it'll pay for itself. Like that'll be $350 will be a tiny expense once Jew.gay is printing money.
What about this one? $99 a year. Jew.sucks. There's a lot of websites here.
That's crazy though that they took it down.
Jew AF.
You know what? On the topic of .gays, So the Economist did this article where they said cousin marriage is probably fine in most cases.
Thanks, Economist.
Well, it's always one of those things. It's kind of like there's certain laws where they go, it's illegal to have sex with your cousin, and you could just never be the guy, even if you think, even if you're the guy that like, I did all the studies and it's not that big of a deal. You want to be the guy putting that bill forward. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah. You never want to be the pro cousin marriage thing.
You can't be the guy standing up and being like, we can't even a little bit.
What? I can't. It's a first cousin. It's not my sister.
And their argument they're making, it's only like 3% more birth defects.
Yeah.
Which actually isn't that crazy high, but it is more birth defects.
I mean, historically, it's been incredibly common. Like when you were living in, small towns and stuff.
Rothschilds.
Specifically
The Rothschilds.
Royal family of England.
Yeah.
I mean, not even that. Just
a lot of times,
historically, everybody
just
lived in a little community, and you're just like, you had to.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you had to. I didn't have to.
I'm sure somewhere in the fucking over in Ireland, there was a lot of cousin banging happening.
I don't think so.
You're having a couple creamy pints at the pub, Ryan. That first cousin starts looking all right.
That's true. Some of those fucking drunk Irish people didn't even realize.
It's not that you don't realize. You're just like, yeah, there's two chicks who are not my cousins.
They didn't realize, I said.
My thing is there any like, second, third order effects here where because they made it illegal, it's actually like depopulating the thing because it's just like less hot to, because like it's just more hot to maybe bang your cousin and then maybe there'll be more kids.
Well, it doesn't even, that's okay. I think a part of it is weird because like it doesn't even affect you because if you're banging a cousin that's a dude, it's like what's the issue? You know what I mean?
That's true. Gay cousin. Yeah, that should not be illegal. That's literally homophobic if you can't bang your gay cousin.
But so if there's some people kind of starting to get this into the atmosphere when they're trying to normalize things, like they're always like looking for stuff that they could take down, right? And they're just like, well, it's this cousin law. I'm like, that's discrimination against cousins. But I was loving the idea though that if like cousin fucking like essentially incest becomes it becomes like a part of the acronym.
Oh yeah.
That would be so funny if like it's essentially like some I don't know, like the stereotypical trailer park rednecks. Like now what part of the LGBTQ
Yeah, they're like
acronym?
marching on a Zin float, on a Copenhagen float.
Like there are. That would be so funny though if they forced like incest on the spectrum. Like I think that's when gay guys would finally have enough because gay guys right now they're adding a lot of things to their unit. I think if you were a gay guy and they were like, yeah, incest too, like you guys, the incest people, and they'd be like, I think we're gonna go. It's gonna be gays gonna going our own way. Gigged out.
They might have to.
I actually think the gays would go their own way if you slapped incest on the acronym.
Yeah. Well, I guess they're trying to say that. Are they trying to say that it's not technically incest? Are they being like, actually?
No, I think they're saying it is incest, but so what?
Yeah, so what?
So fucking what?
So yeah, it's historically not been that big of a deal.
They're saying it ain't no thing, man.
No thing.
It's all good in the hood.
Let's see what these people's cousins look like. That's what I want to see.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's easy for you to say. You got some smoking hot cousins over there.
It's so funny.
It is a tough one because why? I guess why? Who is lobbying for them? Like who's complaining?
I think these things happen where someone just has to write articles and they need like another thing to normalize and they're running out of stuff to normalize, right? Because everything's got normalized.
Is it illegal to marry your cousin? Yeah. In the state of the answer is absolutely. In the state of New York, a person can most definitely marry their first cousin.
I'm pretty sure it's illegal places to have sex with them.
Okay. Here's this. This is in the state of New York. What's the downside of marrying your cousin? Well, New York State allows first cousins to marry. Some other states, ones that don't legally allow first cousins to marry each other, will not recognize your union as legal. So you can get in the state of New York.
Sexual relationship between family members who are not spouses, formerly known as incest, is illegal across the U.S. because of the harm it can cause to family relationships. So that's what
I'm saying. I don't know if they count.
Incest is illegal in all 50 states. What kind of fucking weird web are you on right now? Because
this was.
I'm typing in the same stuff. I'm getting different answers.
This is 981.
I'm just looking on gayjew.af.
No, this is. This is some radio website.
I'm asking every single thing. This is legal match in the United States. It's illegal in 50 states. It's considered a criminal offense, punishable by fines and imprisonment. Incest is defined as sexual relationships or marriage between people who are closely related, such as siblings, parents, and children and cousins. So what are you reading?
I don't know. Okay, this is the New York
bangyourcousin.com. It's all good.
Incestuous and void marriages in New York State. It says a marriage is incestuous and void whether the relatives are legitimate or illegitimate to either an ancestor and a descendant, a brother and a sister of either the whole or the half-blood, uncle and niece, or an aunt and nephew.
Well, you know where it always gets weird is because a lot of these people, these sperm donors that went and donated like 50,000 sperms, these people start dating and they realize they were like blood relatives.
I don't think cousins count in this. An ancestor or a descendant.
Oh, maybe, but according to Google's top things, it does, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll tell you what, I'm not searching for the loophole.
God, give me an answer here.
Yeah, Danny's on like page number 5. Like, it's got to be one of these articles. It's got to say it's illegal. It's got to say it's legal.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I want to say that I was just in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's a dump. I've been on tour for 3 years pretty consistently. Those are the worst shows I've had in the history of my.
Really? You don't like Pittsburgh?
These shows were this is the worst.
What's wrong with Pittsburgh?
I don't know what's wrong with them. Something's fucked up in their heads,
Something
man.
in the water?
I'll tell you what, the worse a city is, the more that their entire identity is the sports team. You'll tell you that much.
I mean, Pittsburgh they have multiple big sports teams. They got the Penguins. They got everything but basketball.
I had 1 or 2 good shows. There was some nice people there. I'm glad people came out to the shows. It was fairly short notice. They weren't good shows. This is the first weekend I've done in 3 months where I walked, or 3 years where I walked away and said, I didn't like that.
Huh. Interesting.
That was not a fun time. People were not having good sets.
Yeah. It just wasn't good.
I don't even know how to explain it.
Weird.
Felt like I was at the fucking Imperial and pub and like where we used to do comedy and just eating shit.
It was work, is what you're saying.
It's a weird city, man. Drake was there, so every hotel's at capacity. We had to stay like half an hour away from the venue because the thing couldn't handle the infrastructure for Drake.
I wonder how they felt about the Drake show. I wonder if Drake's like, dude, I hate Pittsburgh.
Do you think Drake had a good show?
I think Drake did okay.
We did okay turnouts. It wasn't really the issue.
Yeah.
There's one trans girl.
I mean, but it's even
There's one
weird.
trans girl working there. There's 0 modifications. I'm telling you. I forget what you see when you see like trans people that aren't in like the major cities.
Yeah.
Because they do all the stuff here. They like growed their hair a little shaggy. That's the entire modification. Change the name.
Which way was this? Which direction?
Guy to girl.
Got a girl.
I'm telling you, 0 modifications.
Just hair longer.
A bit longer. They grew their sideburns out.
Just real fucking just those pork chops.
0 modifications. They just have like a pink sweater on. That's it.
All right.
I'm telling you though, man.
Weird.
It was not great. However,
sorry, Pittsburgh.
Every other show on this whole tour has been great. So make sure you come out to Dallas this weekend, coming up, or next weekend. But more importantly, I think I'm going to film my special in Calgary. So if you're coming out to Calgary, I think that's going to be a banger. We are getting pretty close to sold out. So buy those tickets, and I'm going to film there. And it's going to cost me a lot of money.
A lot of money.
We're starting to get around the 30, 40 grand area. Then Baltimore, Washington, Boston, Winnipeg, Atlanta, San Diego, Houston, Austin, New Zealand, Australia, 5 dates. So, and Danny will be on tour as well.
Yeah, Phoenix, February 29th and March 3rd. Saratoga Springs, Fairfield, Connecticut, Dallas, Morris Plains, Minneapolis, Edmonton, Vancouver. DannyComedy.com.
RyanLongComedy.com.
DannyComedy.com. Gay.Jew/AF. I could get /AF because you could just make that for your site.
Now we're talking.
Gay.Jew/AF.
Fellas, here's why your hormones suck. If you're listening to this, chances are you may be one of countless guys who are struggling to see results when you want to hit the gym, even in the mirror, maybe even in the bedroom. Most guys are focused on testosterone. As you know, I was in a little bit of a spat with some of these testosterone companies. But however, testosterone is only 50% of the answer. Without adequate growth hormone and its end result of growth factors, you can't even optimally absorb the testosterone you have, no matter if it's synthetic or natural. That's where BioPro Plus comes in. BioPro Plus fills in what you're missing out on to help you maximize your performance in the gym and even how you look in the mirror without any of the needles, side effects, doctor visits, all at a fraction of the cost of synthetic treatments. Over the past few years, BioPro Plus has been taking the medical community by storm as a faster, easier to use, 100% safe alternative. Over the past few years, BioPro Plus has been taking the medical community by storm as a faster, easier to use, 100% safe alternative to RX, HGH, and peptide treatments. It's become an underground favorite for professional and combat sport athletes and has been featured in Men's Journal, Muscle and Fitness, and even Venture Capitalist magazine. Simply put, BioPro Plus is getting real guys, real results, really fast. I tried BioPro Plus myself. I love it. I think you're going to love it too. So head on over to bioproteintech.com to learn more. Click on the link in our bio and use the code BOYSCAST for 30% off your first order. That is bioproteintech.com. If If you've ever tried to break a bad habit and you felt like you're climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops, we've all been there too. Sometimes it just got a hold on you. But there's a breath of fresh air, and that is Fume. It's not always about giving up that habit. It's about switching up. And honestly, I've even noticed for myself that switching the bad habit to just something else, it's like a mental thing that replaces the other one. And it's just 1,000 times easier to do. So Fume takes your bad habit and simply makes it better, healthier, and a whole lot more enjoyable. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. Probably by now you probably know which habit we're talking about. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses delicious flavors. You get it. Instead of bad, Fume's good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy. It makes replacing your bad habit easy. So your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial. It's designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while you're breaking your habit. It tastes great, has a cool look with real wood, has a cool feel, which is fun to fidget with. It tastes great. They have a bunch of different cores. And plus, Fume just released the magnetic stand for your Fume, so there's no more losing it around the house. It's built for fidgeting in mind. You can spin your Fume around on it, which I've actually been doing mostly while I'm editing. Start the year off right with the good habit by going to tryfume.com/boyscast and getting the journey pack today. Fume is giving our listeners of the show 10% off when you use the code BOYSCAST to help make starting the good habit that much easier. A really funny phenomenon has been happening. So there's all these body positive influencers, right?
Sure. And they're dying.
That has also been happening.
I thought that was going to be the funny thing.
So basically, Ozempic has been reaching out to influencers to be Ozempic influencers.
Which is insane. I get what they're thinking, but they really don't understand how tied these people's identities are to being fat.
Dude, it's the best. So they're like blowing the whistle. All these body positive influencers are coming out and they're not happy because Ozempic's kind of like, hey man, big fan, love what you do, love all the body positive stuff, being fat's great. Do you want to do a $5,000 sponsorship for a weight loss drug?
And also not be fat anymore.
You really do.
That's the craziest part.
The craziest part is what you're saying, because I bet you a lot of these fat influencers aren't really making that much money, and Ozempic's offering them like a 10K payday to be like the Ozempic spokesperson.
Yeah.
But they're just like, fuck. It's probably the most money some of these people have ever got offered.
Easily.
But they're like, if I take this, if you built an entire brand of being fat's amazing, then what afterwards?
For sure. Either you have to go gain back all that weight.
And you go jokes on Ozempic. I actually gained the weight back. That was a prank I pulled on Ozempic because being fat's amazing.
Yeah, I actually haven't been injecting myself. That's the only thing you could do is you take it and then you're just not injecting yourself. I go, hey, they pay me all this money. I guess Ozempic doesn't work. Yay, fat people. Like that's what you do. You just go, yeah, look, I'm injecting it, and then you just like don't inject it.
I don't know. Those big lawyers at Ozempic might take those fats to the cleaners, man.
I don't know. Prove it. I guess prove them. But yeah,
it is the perfect demographic. Like if you are Ozempic, a body positive influencer that their whole thing is being fat is amazing. Mm-hmm. You'll never find someone that has like a bigger audience of fats. It's literally
yeah, but the problem is they're all being told that they should remain fat. Like none of them. This isn't like the workout community of trying to like, hey, we're fat, but we're trying to get skinny. Which there is that community that exists as well. Like we're all like trying to turn our lives around. These are like, we are perfect the way we are. Why would we change this?
But also probably impressionable people, right?
Sure.
And it is also the lazy community a little bit, because Ozempic, the whole thing is you're not telling them they have to do anything, right? You're telling them it's a magic potion.
It is. Yeah, that's the whole deal. It's just a magic potion.
Yeah, some people are coming out now saying that magic potion has a lot of really bad side effects, but
you certainly can't think that there'll be zero side effects or something like that to just a thing you inject once a month or whatever.
This girl's been a fat activist for more than a decade, so when she started to receive email after email from wellness companies offering weight loss drugs, she thought it was spam. Then she saw other creators.
She was, can I eat these emails? I like spam.
And then other creators. So it's sort of like a scandal in the fat influencer community.
Well, they're like, I can't believe, like offended, right? Like they're like insulted.
They're insulted.
Yeah. Like that's like if some feminist podcast was like, "Hey, can we run a sponsorship
for MGTOW
or whatever?" No, on this show or something. Like Men Are Bad podcast. Can we like run a thing?
Well, I've actually said no to some because we do a lot of like health stuff, and generally we try to do stuff that like we like in the making yourself better vein. And like for example, we'll have one for. Like a fast food thing or something that I, like, and I always say no to those.
What? Can you just stop filming for a second?
You're telling me I could have been a spokesperson for McDonald's? McDonald's was one of them.
If you tell me it was fucking Arby's, I'm about to walk the fuck out of here, Ryan.
Yeah. So, anyways, they wanted us to do like a quick ad read, and then we were gonna get free Arby's for life. And
What?
I said, I think I speak for both of us, and that's not something we're interested in.
Not big fan of those delicious curly fries from Arby's.
Would you do a Ozempic thing if they reached out?
I don't know. Depends how much money it was.
Okay, $500.
$500.
Well, so that is.
I know some people on Ozempic. I haven't actually heard a ton of great reviews. Like we know some comics who have taken it.
Yeah,
they say it makes you feel kind of bad.
Well, JJ's been going hard on the idea that it like wrecks.
JJ listened to one fucking Joe Rogan podcast where Peter Attia was talking about it. I think it was Peter Attia.
I think he did his own research.
And then literally Peter Attia is like, yeah, you know what? People lose a lot of muscle mass. And you're like, yes, they lose muscle mass because the type of people who take Ozempic don't work out.
I think he was in the lab.
It's like a bunch of like old ladies who are like taking it and not working out. And you're, yes.
Well, JJ seems to think it's bad.
Well, if JJ thinks it's bad, I mean, look, there's certainly potential that there will come out to be some sort of negative thing down the road. On balance, I definitely think for some people it's very good.
I agree with you. It's probably like you go, whatever negative effects it has are not nearly as bad as the negative effects of being 300 pounds overweight.
Or yeah, exactly. Being like 400 pounds and being 50 years old and you're like, okay, time's ticking on this. Like you either do something about this now or you die soon.
Oh, sure. But I will say, if you are trying to find someone to be the spokesperson for this, it is pretty fair to say that the best demographic in the world is people that follow body positive influencers. What other thing is that? Okay, 100% of the people watching that need that product.
Yeah, they need it, but the problem is how do you convince them that when that becomes part of like their identity? It's like a Trojan horse kind of thing because they're probably the least likely people to
this
take
is
it.
One last job when you're getting out of the influencing game.
I think you want to go more like kind of like I was thinking.
Well, then you follow your weight loss journey. Some of them might have said all the stuff about being fat's amazing, so they're running out of things.
What about like retired offensive linemen? Like you retire as an offensive lineman. A lot of those guys.
Well, I'm not saying they're the only person in the world that could do it, but then they could be like, "I'll follow your weight loss journey." But that's not what they're saying. They're like flabbergasted, and they're not happy campers.
Of course. I mean, honestly, from like a business perspective for them, that is very short-sighted. Because you'll get skinny and lose everybody along the way.
No, yeah,
and then you'll be left looking like just like a regular
dude. It's
person.
Literally the thing that comedians got into the problem of, where there was so many comics that like I'm the fat funny guy, and then their whole act is about being fat, and then they lose weight, and they're just like, I used to be fat.
I used to be fat, and people are like, I really can't see it. Really, you can't see it.
But they're the thing that they're doing is the fat influencer said, she told Yahoo News she has similar emails for months and receives them every day. I find that these companies are targeting the most outspoken about body acceptance in hopes of converting or silencing us.
I mean,
she thinks that's what she doesn't think like, oh, you have a good audience, you'd be perfect for this, you're fat, and we just sent this to 1 million people. In her mind, she's saying like, this body positive stuff's got to go.
I mean, what they should do is they should hire some sort of beekeeper type dude and go find these people in public and then
feed them honey.
No, just stick them. Just like you go, okay, look, here's a body positivity influencer. We need to get rid of this nonsense.
Just stick them with
this is where she lives. once a week. You have to like bump into her at the fucking grocery store, like in the feed aisle or whatever, you know, and you just kind of be like, oh, excuse me, and you just kind of stab her in the ass. And you go, what was that? Because you know, there's like a thing where it got like in New York and stuff where people like would do that. They'll like stick people with needles.
What's what?
That's what people don't know. That's the scary part.
I seen that on movies.
No, there was a guy doing that in New York. Like, dude, I just walked over here. I came up the steps of fucking 34th Street Station. There was a chick laid out across the stairs and just like needles everywhere.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not saying she was doing
Did you take your pants off and say, I heard you like needles? Is that something you said?
Heard you like, so you like needles, eh?
Needle DAF.
Needle DAF. But anyways, people do
Needle
that.
AF.
But that would be a better strategy. You just get rid
What
of
about that for your dick pics? Say needle AF.
that. Could kind of get by them because probably in Afghanistan they go, nothing wrong with needles. What?
What? What? Shooting the guns into the air. But you mentioned the silencing us, which is funny. But to me, converting is even funnier. The idea of saying that they're trying to they're doing fat conversion therapy.
Yeah, it is fat.
To me, that's so funny.
They used to have a thing. It was called Fat Camp. There were many comedy movies made along the lines.
The weight loss industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry that will go belly up, no pun intended, if people love themselves. But I will say, if they always talk, they're kind of saying that if people start loving themselves, you know, the weight loss industry will do bad. But it's like, I bet if you did a poll, the people that eat like Big Macs nonstop every day probably aren't they probably are the ones that love themselves less. Like if you love yourself,
well, some people,
if you love yourself and you consider your body your temple, you're not going to put that garbage down your throat every day. Yeah, that's what someone who hates himself
This is like the horseshoe theory, though, where these people came so far the other way around, where they're like, I love myself, so I do whatever the fuck I want.
Bit of a cope, though, right?
Of course.
You know, if you came in here today and you were just like, you know, I was just thinking and I just love me. I go, are you okay? Like, I love myself.
Ryan, I've started using heroin. I love myself.
I'm enough. You know, there's nothing wrong with me. I would be like, seems like Danny's going through it right now.
Yeah, of course. Of course. It is 100% a cope.
You know the show Love is Blind?
Yep.
There's this girl on it recently, and so they basically do all the dates like where they can't see each other, and the one guy left his wife and picked this girl because she said that people always say she looks like Megan Fox. And then
I saw the photo of her. I don't watch the show.
Yeah, it's kind of become a big thing. But
wait, he left his wife before he saw her?
Yeah.
What is, because I haven't seen the show, but like what is because I know they like go on a date.
Someone told me that and I didn't ask more questions.
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, how does that work? Aren't you just like in a studio?
I was told this by a fan of the show.
Okay.
Big fan of the show.
Okay.
Mentioned that he left his wife when I was talking about it.
Okay.
But the funny part is what I did watch was the video where he meets her the first time, and the face on this guy is incredible, my friend.
Face on her is incredible too.
He realizes he just got catfished, and he just kind of looks. He's just like, "Huh."
I left my wife,
and she's like, "I can't wait to be together forever." And he's like, "Yes, forever." And he puts she's not that big.
Yeah.
She's just got like 30, 40 extra pounds. She's not that bad. Pretty, like, kind of a normal looking person. But she sold him like she's the real hottie, and this guy is.
Yeah.
The spoiler alert: Love's not as blind as they want you to believe it is. So on the topic, they did these studies because in New York, you know how they were trying to get rid of the obesity gap, but they did another article about it, and they were saying the obesity gap's really big, and they're doing the same thing with the wage gap, where the obesity gap is they take fat people and take skinny people, and they go, skinny people make more. Well, I guess that's because of discrimination, right? But it's like, well, take that to the logical extreme. It's like, why don't you take jacked guys and take normal guys, and you might find out that guys that are in really good shape are making more money than normal people. It's like, well, is it normal guy phobic? Like, you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
It's like, yes, they're the type of guy that probably goes to the gym.
It's like a type A, like, go-getter dude wakes up at fucking 5 a.m. and works out is also the type of guy who probably like works harder. And
well, yes, and the type of person who's the type of woman that's 300 pounds overweight, like, might not be fucking waking up 6 a.m. to prepare for that presentation.
It goes back to what we said at the beginning with that guy who only hires six-pack people. You know, people with six-pack abs. Because kind of does tell you something about that.
That being said, there might be, and this is what we'd have to find out.
Yeah.
There might be a point where it goes the other way.
First off, this is off of BMI, which I know is like, sometimes can be deceiving in terms of, because there's dudes who have a high BMI who are jacked.
Yeah.
Or like they'll be like, oh, this guy's just overweight. He's got a high BMI. You're like, that's The Rock. Like The Rock has probably a BMI of over 30. You're like,
sure.
Not everybody's like The Rock.
But probably not for normal people as much. But Wall Street Journal released a thing, and they said to save money, maybe you should skip breakfast. And everyone was obviously kind of dunking on it because it was just like they're saying the economy's bad, proposing, hey, here's an idea: skip breakfast.
I mean, it's the cheapest meal of the day. You should skip dinner.
Well, that's what they're saying. It's not that cheap anymore. They're saying eggs is going up, everything's going up.
Dude, I shop at Whole Foods, which is arguably maybe the third most expensive grocery store in New York City. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a couple really Morton Williams, like the really expensive ones. I don't step foot in them. I buy 18 eggs. They're $6. Mm-hmm. So if you eat 4 eggs, that's what, $1?
Well, I would, yes. I'm not, I don't know. I mean, I actually don't think skipping breakfast is the worst idea, but I'd like to see
I'm just saying for money saving purposes.
I'd like to see this kind of propaganda meet with the fat influencers and kind of the intersection of to save money and skip breakfast.
Yeah. What?
Did you see the 2 fat professors thing?
Yeah.
They're professors. The nutty professors. And there's they have like a troupe, I guess, a professor troupe, and they're called 2 fat professors. It's like so funny.
I have
2 fat professors.
We're like literally, remember that movie Revenge of the Nerds?
I think one of them comes out. Yeah, one of them comes out and sings, and one of them raps. So they go, 2 fat professors. He goes, we're too fat, we're too fly, we're too fat,
too fat, too fly, just 2 guys. They're not guys though. One of them might be trans or something. I have a theory that we're currently just living through Revenge of the Nerds. Basically any person who was ever bullied is now. Have you noticed? I don't know is your Instagram like this, where like a lot of the most viral people on Instagram right now are like people who kind of would have been like not the most popular people.
Well, Facebook's an interesting one for me because I don't follow anyone.
Yeah.
So I actually just see like raw shit that like.
Sure, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I don't really have an algorithm. And it's like, I'm not kidding on what you're saying. 1 out of 8 people is like just a guy with no legs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, there'll be like a guy with like, there'll be like a legitimately like, a guy with no legs, a guy who like shot his face off. A guy.
A lot of that kind of
Down
shit,
syndrome, like legitimately like down, like someone who's 800, like we're just.
It could be Revenge of the Nerds, or it's like they've figured out how to have like modern day freak show.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's modern day freak show. But we know who's writing these algorithms.
Yeah, and you can sort of tell yourself you're being
like the nerds who are controlling the people who are controlling what we see and ingest.
That's a good point.
Are the fucking nerds, right? And they were poorly treated for most of time. And now they're getting their cute little revenge on us, huh?
And what is their revenge exactly?
I don't know.
They're saying the revenge is like,
they go, hey,
push me around in a locker. Well, here's a guy with no legs.
Yeah, push me around in a locker. Well, the most famous guy on the fucking Instagram right now is the guy who got pushed in the locker all the time. So how do you feel about that?
I don't think anyone's pushing the no arms, no legs guy in the locker.
They're rolling him into the locker. Yes, Ryan.
It's not the worst theory.
Yeah. Anyways, that's what I think. Because we see this stuff and then we're like, we're like, these are people. Oh,
your theory falls apart where the hot girl's still good, but I still do good. But I guess the nerds would still simp for the hot girl.
Yeah, but you know what? But I think, like, the top tier of like hot girls do well, but there's like this huge middle right now of hot girls who are just kind of flailing around, being like nobody cares.
Dude, it's wild to watch a hot girl flail. Like when you see like a pretty hot girl, not smoking, but like she lived in some small town, she was sought after in high school, no question about it.
Absolutely,
she's got
top class,
and she's got like 2,000 followers, and she's like showing posting all the time.
And you're like, you see like a little bit of her asshole in her photos. And
dude, those breastfeeding videos we saw the other day.
Oh my god, man! I sent this to. There's this girl who figured out.
This is Danny has these posted at DannyHard.af.
this OnlyFans chick. So because you're allowed to
breastfeeding influencing.
So breastfeeding is allowed on Instagram. That's not a violation. You do not get dinged for breastfeeding. So she straight up found a doll that is like a super lifelike baby doll. And so she just whips her tits out and just pretends that she's feeding a fake baby. But because it looks so lifelike, they just go, I guess it's a baby.
It's
nothing
crazy.
To see here. Yet there's everything to see here.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably...
And I'm getting fucking kicked off for sexual solicitation. What fucking world are we living in?
The breastfeeding channels with the fake babies is fucking out of control.
Crazy. And again, you would think that if there is some sort of content moderation on Instagram or whatever, they'd be like, okay, well, let's just click on her. Oh, she has the OnlyFans.
That's a fake baby, yeah.
Fake baby. She's skirting this thing. Let's ban her for life, no question. And it's not a small account. Like 250,000 followers. Like, they know who she is.
Okay, but now you imagine you're a guy at Facebook and they go, hey, you need to ban some accounts. You go, on the one hand, you have like a girl with her tits out. The other hand, you have Danny making his fucking Palestinian jokes. And then you go, I wonder which one of these two I'm going to get rid of.
Yeah, that's true.
Or it's literally the guy was sweating, pressing the buttons.
Right, yeah,
except this guy's not sweating. It's like fat podcaster. Fat podcaster talking about Palestine.
Yeah.
Girl feeding fake babies with her jugs.
Yeah, that's a good point. I more so think they're like, yo, you got to kick this guy off or this chick off, and then he's going through the feed, and then he's like, what was I supposed to do again?
I think sometimes
what was the job description? I don't remember.
It's true, yeah. He's just mesmerized by his boss comes in, his eyes are just doing the spiral circles.
Maybe.
And he goes, did you do what I told you to do? He goes, I kicked that Danny guy off again.
Give him the boots. He's gone.
But I will say that the people that are getting rocked by social media the most, in my opinion, I know a lot of times teenagers, it's like bad for them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like middle-aged moms really get rocked by social media because they didn't like grow up in the internet. Like people that are like 45-year-old moms, they find a subculture and they still read it like it's the Sunday paper.
Yeah.
So they believe everything they see there. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And they also get in their little algorithms and they think that's the whole world. I feel like they're not equipped to deal with it as much. And they said apps and social media influencers are wrongly making middle-aged women think they have ADHD, experts warn. And so middle-aged women are going on social media and then, diagnosing themselves with ADHD.
Sure.
And by the way, I will say, doctors, I did a video about this, but doctors will prescribe. I got pills for sleeping.
Yeah.
You literally walk in and you tell them what you want. Like they don't ask questions.
I mean, there's tons of websites right now too with the telehealth stuff where it's like you don't even walk in.
Well, I didn't walk in.
Oh yeah. You make a phone call.
I don't have health insurance.
Yeah. So you don't need health insurance to walk in.
Well, it's cheaper to go to the
but it's easier. You just go on the thing. You do a FaceTime and you just go, hey, like this is what I want. And they go, okay.
Literally, you just do that. Yeah. I had my whole story prepared too,
and they don't care,
buddy. I had my whole story prepared.
You have like a fucking neck brace on, and you're like a fucking crutch. You walk into frame. You're like, hello. And
the girk barely looks up. She asked me what milligrams I want. I go, I don't know. She goes, you want the highest one? I go, well, all right.
Aren't you some sort of doctor?
Didn't tell me anything, by the way, because I'm kind of like, is there anything I should know? She's like, nah. And by the way, like drinking on this stuff's bad, for example. You know what I mean? Didn't mention anything like that.
No.
They're like, you tell me when to want. She goes, listen, I'm going to start writing. You tell me when to stop.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy. So I think moms, they go on this thing. And what it tells you is you have ADHD. It's shit like they go, sometimes you procrastinate. And you're going, well, that's fucking me.
That's me.
Yeah.
I think I've been known to procrastinate a little bit.
Like when they're talking to the high school kids, they're like, if you have an assignment to finish, do you end up sometimes finishing that last night? And you go, fucking, this is Margaret on a fucking Dead to Rights.
That's me. That's me. When I got to make brownies for the bake sale.
Yeah.
I'm up at 6 a.m. making them because I didn't do it the night before.
Exactly, yeah.
Spent too much time.
Well, I guess 2 years ago,
Green Gables reruns. That's my old ADHD acting up.
So they convince these guys. They literally go on TikTok for 45 minutes, and they've got these middle-aged moms convinced they're retarded.
I mean, the phones is probably not glued to the phones is probably not helping. Rewiring your brain at such an old age like that.
This is what I'm saying, man. And they're impressionable as well, right? And a lot of them have nothing but time on their hands, especially if they don't work. Woo! You have two options. I'd say you have four options as a middle-aged mom. You become a Trump mom,
Yeah.
a CNN mom,
Yep.
a drunk.
Yeah. Which that's the Venn diagram. There could be overlaps.
There could be overlap, or disabled.
Yeah. Yes. That's yeah. That's I'm trying to think. That's about it. Yeah.
Oh, yes, they're out there. There's probably some other options as well, but they all fall under those categories.
That's about all of them.
But this is what happens. They get on these.
I guess pill addict.
I put that in the drunk category. Yeah, probably.
Just
drunk mess.
Self-medicating.
Self-medicating. So, or they be convinced they're disabled. They watch like 40 videos and they march into the office and they're like, I need the works.
Yeah.
So TikTok is like the best thing that ever happened to the pharmaceutical industry. These guys are doing influencing for ADHD medication for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're basically ADHD salesmen. Is these like TikTok influencers.
And just the nature of just the algorithm, it's doing the work for you.
I'll tell you what, man, I would look into that conspiracy where you have Big Pharma paying off people at Facebook to boost ADHD content.
Interesting.
That's real big money right there, my friend.
That would be quite a scandal.
It would be a little bit of...
that would be scandalous.
It would be quite a scandal, but also it might just be on page 25 and you never hear about it again.
That's true, yeah. Also, yeah, I don't know, because there's a degree to which maybe, the way they jig up the algorithms or whatever that just makes you just
Well, then they go to their bake sale with the other moms, and the other moms are kind of like, well, I was on TikTok, I found out I have OCD, and the other girl goes, I have OCD and ADHD. Well, what do you have, Stephanie? And she goes, OCD as well. Then she walks into her doctor, she goes, I'm looking like a fucking idiot out there.
What are you fucking doing, huh?
I need the works.
Yeah. That's. But the problem is with TikTok is you sometimes learn something valuable on there.
I don't fucking think I learned too much valuable on TikTok, if I'm being completely honest with you. The only thing I use TikTok for is maybe like kind of keep up on what's going on.
Yeah.
Like every maybe once a week when I'm doing the podcast, I'll spend an hour on there, kind of being like, what's happening on fucking the talk right now?
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, not a lot.
Fake breastfeeding. My whole thing is just all that's going on right now in the world is just fake breastfeeding.
I'll tell you what.
No news. No geopolitics.
That's just because
you're municipal. Nothing. It's
just because your algorithm.
Just women breastfeeding.
You're just like it's the entire internet. Women breastfeeding. Everyone's like, that's your algorithm. And you go, I'm pretty sure that's all that's happening.
That is you.
Every woman is just breastfeeding nonstop. These babies are so parched.
That is you.
The titties are never drained and the babies are never full. So there's this woman, Ruby Frank, and she was like a family influencer.
Yep.
And then she's basically in court right now, and she's up to 60 years.
She's not in court.
She's going to do real time.
No, she got sentenced.
Well, she's going to serve up to 60 years. Yeah. Oh, she got sentenced.
She got sentenced, yeah.
But she was legitimately like a parenting influencer.
Yeah.
And then the things that when they start going through the stories, I really do think after a certain age, if you were to look at like women over 50 who like became like big influencers, I bet you if you looked into which one of them are like mentally unwell, I bet you it's like 30%.
30%, eh? It's pretty low estimate. 30%. The problem is all those people are want to be famous for the sake of fame, which is the worst way to like
100% the worst way.
The absolute worst thing is like fame should be a
with
byproduct.
No craft. Fame with no craft.
Yeah, fame with no craft. Like fame should be a byproduct of something you do. You should not aim to just be famous.
That's a really good point. Fame without the thing attached to it.
Yeah, you just like when you just go, I just want to be famous, and then they just go, hey, you can just here's a phone. And you can do it.
And you're like, oh, what's your thing going to be? And you're just like, oh, maybe I'm
family. You're like, everybody has a family, you fucking jackass. You're like, well, I abuse them behind the scenes, which really gets them going when we're on camera.
But it's funny because she was, dude, the idea that this woman's giving people advice and the things she was doing, her kids are like, yeah, she would like duct tape me up and put me in the
She
corner.
like wouldn't feed her kids and shit. Like they found her one son. Her son was like emaciated, had to go to the hospital because it was like so malnourished and had duct tape stuck to his like wrists. And like this is like real.
Do you know how crazy that is to be doing that and then putting on the phone and then being like, is someone ready to act? And then he finally takes he's like, if you want to get your food, you have to be like, here we are.
Like just like cattle prodding them under the table, just like bzz.
And she's giving advice on how to be a parent. Woo!
Now the question is because sometimes people can kind of have like compartmentalize the two things. Like I wonder if some people are like, that's so fucked up, but like her advice was good.
She was really good at
casserole recipe that she popped, that tuna casserole, we still eat that every Thursday night.
So let's see what she says. She goes, she admitted to torturing her children by holding their heads underwater.
Like she's
that's like,
what is it, like Guantanamo Bay?
She just did this, and she's like, now sometimes the kids don't want to eat their broccoli, and and you got to be firm, but you know you want to go for 45 to. Now, when they get to 7 or 8 years old, you're gonna want to really teach it to them.
It's insane.
Holding the kids' heads underwater is next level.
I mean, the crazy thing is there's like a family influencer now who's doing this, who hasn't been caught.
Buddy, a lot of times you see the one where the girl accidentally uploaded.
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah,
she accidentally uploaded her being like,
the dog died, and she's like, cry more.
Come on, get the tears up there. Come on, baby.
Yeah,
come on.
yeah. Like that's happening now.
Of course.
That's the crazy thing is every time you watch some family influencer, you go,
dude, the world's turned into a futuristic dystopian nightmare in some ways.
Yeah, well, it's the whole like the whatever. Everybody's gonna get their 15 minutes of fame, but I guess just nobody, and you know, like the surveillance state, just nobody could have anticipated that people would be willfully just filming themselves.
That's true.
Yeah, it's not like there's these cameras everywhere. It's just like we're doing it.
I don't think that I could date or marry or have kids with a woman that wanted to be family influencers, like an influencer family.
The problem, though, is
being the kid's
you don't
the worst,
find out until it's too late.
I know.
Like the guy. They eventually got separated and that whole thing.
Well, this guy got out.
He was just like wanted to have a white picket fence, and he probably worked at an insurance company, and she was Susie Homemaker, and then she got that fucking devil phone in her pocket. YouTube pops up or whatever, and she goes, you know what? I could do something.
She probably just posted one video of like, look at us at Christmas. Got into the algorithm.
Yeah, got in the algorithm, right? And then he's probably like, yeah, you know what? She's got a cute little hobby, and then cut to fucking 10 months later, the kids have like just chained up over pipes and she's just like hitting them with fucking bamboo that fast because they don't act well for her fucking TikToks. And you're like,
she comes in the room waking him up in the middle of the night. Do you know how many views that was?
Oh my God. Horrific.
They have another good one. So this is a new term alert. Boo, woo, woo.
Alert.
And it's called Rebecca syndrome. And so Rebecca syndrome's trending, and we got an actual therapist to explain it. And basically, it's when a chick stalks her ex-boyfriend, and they're calling it Rebecca syndrome. It's just a cute little syndrome.
Okay.
It's all too easy to look up our partner's exes look like, what they do for work, what type of person they are. Maybe our partner even has old photos with them on Instagram. One term for this jealousy is Rebecca syndrome. Takes the name for the 1938 novel. Behind these Googleable labels are obsessional problems. Obsessional problems and tend to be quite complicated. They tend to have very long histories. But they're not talking about like just a regular chick, because every chick does this to some degree.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure guys do it too, where they want to.
I don't think as much. I think, dude, I would put it this way. Okay, I'm going to put something out here and you can disagree. Tell me what you think.
Yeah.
I think you'd be surprised to find out that 50% of chicks have a burner. And it's not always just like I'm saying so they could like
burner
cheat.
Phone?
No, a burner account.
Oh.
And it's not just so they could like do, it's not like for infidelity only.
Yeah.
This is mostly like so they could creep. Like they're nosy. I'm not even
Like
saying,
where they'll go follow someone just because like for private accounts and stuff.
so they can go look at stories of people without them knowing.
Right. Yeah.
Like I would say like 50% of chicks have a fake account where they can a Finsta. Yeah, where they can go look at other people's stories without them knowing. And some of them are like looking at ex-boyfriends all day. Like they're just like, oh, my ex that I dated 7 years ago, I know everything about his new girlfriend. Like I know where she lives. I know what her family looks like. I know what her...
Probably. Yeah, chicks are like that too. They love that shit. It's just like a soap. It's like turning your own life into a soap opera a bit.
Yeah, they're nosy.
Yeah, they're nosy. Yeah.
And they just like, oh, what do you mean? I'm just poking around. But it's like, before you know it, it's like, yeah, you've been poking around 4 hours a day. It's all you do is poke around.
All you do is poke around. It's like, it's like you're going to her house. That's kind of a bit much.
Yeah. It's a lot more than poke around. You set up cameras in her fucking bedroom. When you have issues of retroactive jealousy, it's often possible to find kind of fault in the family line or the family tree. So they're saying, like, when you have this where, you're looking at the guy that you dated 7 years ago constantly, 100% of the time, it's probably your dad's fault.
Yeah, of course. No, I mean, nothing's ever anyone's fault.
That'd be the worst to find out your girlfriend was like just obsessively following her ex's life.
Yeah, especially if it was like, if it was an old one too, like really.
3 old ago.
Yeah, like 3 ago. You're like, what are you fucking
And just every day she's just like on this guy's shit nonstop.
Yeah, I mean,
for example, you might have a client with quite a gap in their family till the other siblings come along, and the client is left with a very early sense of being replaced. So if you have like a really younger brother or something like that, that's probably pretty reasonable.
That's why you've been just keeping tabs.
Let me ask you,
accidentally bumping into the new girlfriend at the grocery store
because you're the youngest.
Because you follow her like stories and you just literally stalk her.
It is pretty crazy push that they're doing here, right? They're saying that one of the reasons that you might, if you're like the youngest child, that might be one of the reasons that you have been obsessively stalking someone.
Yeah, I mean, people need fucking hobbies, man.
There was
what happened to just intramural sports?
Now we're talking. Hold on. So you seen this girl? There's this woman is sort of giving a bit of a tutorial to men, sort of the Grant Cardone of women.
Okay.
So if you're making $50,000, don't date. I'm just being for real. You're not ready to date.
Again, I'm with you.
You're not ready to date. You're not ready to date because courtship costs.
Okay.
Everything costs. Okay. You can go for 22 walks in the park. Eventually, shorty is gonna need a sip of something. She gonna be thirsty. This bottle of water is $3 in Atlanta.
So what do you think about that?
That she's saying for a man should make at least.
She's saying how old you are. If you don't make $50,000 a year, you're just be single. That's sort of what it is.
You're out of your fucking mind if you don't think that there's some 20-year-old kid who works at Wendy's who is absolutely cleaning up.
Buddy.
Like, you don't...
Works 1 day a week at a bar.
Yeah, of course. You don't need to.
If anything...
I mean, she's talking about from a woman's perspective, don't date a guy who doesn't make 50 grand because it's for women, but I don't know.
Yeah, or, here's another thing, lie about how much money you make. Like, you don't think that there's a million guys out there? To be honest, the guys that are crushing the most have the most time on their hands.
Of course.
And it's like, yeah, there's like this idea that there's like you go, yeah, there's a certain type of girl that probably wants a really expensive date. Okay, and you're not her. Next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of chicks who will just down and just go grab a drink at a
But it's just it's always so crazy to me when you're just like not that hot and you're just like, it's only fucking, you got to be making real money to be with
not
me.
that crazy. That's pretty much.
Well, it's above half. So you'd think that you were above half in hotness.
Yeah. That's true.
Do the basic math on that, right?
That's true. Yeah, I wonder what the average U.S. male income is.
And we're just going to go through one bride thing.
40,000. No, 52,000.
Okay, so you're like at average.
You to be the median. Yeah.
You got to be above average.
And that bitch looks average. Let me tell you.
Yo, you look average.
That bitch be looking average.
So, this is the ultimate Bridezilla. A disgruntled bride has to be revealed that she was forced to cancel her wedding. The cancellation came after the guest refused to pay $1,500 to attend.
This is fucking mental.
So she's having a wedding.
Yeah.
And she wants people to pay $1,500, which obviously if you want your friends to pay $1,500, you just do a destination and you just extract it.
You don't get the money, though.
The Canadian bride, Susan, was due to tie the knot. She wanted $60,000. And she goes, my request for $15,000 was not fucking out of the ordinary. If you couldn't contribute, you weren't invited. It's very out of the ordinary.
A whole breakdown, too.
If anyone asked me for $1,500 to go to your wedding.
It's not even $1,500 for they go, I need $1,500 in advance.
So what do I get from it?
I need a down. That's just the gift. You get to come to this wedding.
Yeah, what am I, your fucking Italian mobster uncle?
Insane.
Since our love was a fairy tale, we want an extravagant blowout wedding. It's like, well, yeah, but you're not rich.
Yeah, and this guy's definitely like, this is not a fairy tale. This is whatever the opposite of a fairy tale is for this guy.
It gets crazier. A local psychic told us to go with the most expensive options.
Of course.
And then we thought, why the hell not?
Dude, that
like,
guy,
for starters,
that guy
poor.
At the psychic, he comes along. She goes, yeah, we're thinking of having a wedding, and the psychic is like, I see caviar.
Guys, like, are you sure you're getting your reading right?
Reef. He goes, I think you might. Can we adjust the antenna in here? She goes, I think you're getting the most expensive possible wedding. I see you going into huge amounts of debt for this wedding.
Like, your psychic just goes, okay, I'm just gonna do a reading on your wedding here. Dring, 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 dring. Sorry, I blacked out there. What did I do? Did I make any sounds?
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
So she's.
And then the guy's got to pay for the psychic. She goes, pay.
Yeah. Also, I'm really expensive too. I see a lot of spending in your future. Well, it's crazy because it's just like, well, obviously the answer is you're not rich, so you're probably not going to be doing that.
Insane. I mean, it's insane to request people. You go, we need the money. Like, you get the gift at the wedding.
And that's $100 per person.
Yeah, like whatever.
They have standards for this. You think you get 15 times the average?
100? And you go, yeah, but I'm a princess and I want a princess wedding.
Or you go, well, then you should have married a prince who can afford a princess wedding, sister.
Yeah.
Our dream wedding was $60,000. All we asked for was a little help for our friends and family to make it happen. It's like, well, yeah, you can ask your family.
Yeah, your family.
As in your mom and dad. And if they say no, you're out of options, pal.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, you could always take out a loan.
After sending the invitation, only 8 guests RSVP'd with their check for $1,500. We were fucking livid.
I can't even believe that 8 people would agree to that. Like that. That's
they'd have to be real rich to. I don't think I could do that.
That would be. I mean, just on the principle, if someone said that, I go, what?
It would have to be something where I really can't think of a scenario where I would. If you came up to me and you're like, listen, like it's going to be an entrance fee of $1,500 for the wedding. I was like, well, what does that include?
Yeah, you go, I don't know.
I'd be like, what am I getting for my $1,500?
Normally weddings,
and you're like, oh, it's going to be like a really nice place. I would be like,
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How is it? And she goes, how is this supposed to happen with so little help from our friends? Like in her mind, there's like
she's entitled. I mean, it's just she's entitled. She goes, I'm entitled to this.
Well, it's like, okay, well, if you go to all 60 people at their weddings, do you have the $60,000 to pay them? It's like, okay, well then
yeah. How much did you give these people for their wedding? I guarantee you, it was not $1,500.
Listen, we all want the fancy wedding where you hire Ja Rule to sing at the wedding.
That would be one thing. You go, hey, $1,500, but Ja Rule's coming. You go, all right.
You go ahead. Do you want to pitch in? Would you pitch in? If you came to me and you go, listen, would you be willing to pitch in $1,000 because I'm going to book Joey Chestnut to perform at the wedding?
Or like Smash Mouth or something. You go, oh, that could be kind of a funny story.
I still think most people would be like, I'm probably good without Smash Mouth because I actually found this Smash Mouth cover band that's a fucking 1500.
Practically Smash Mouth.
It was only a month before our wedding. To cancel everything was going to be another $5,000. So she put $5,000 down payment on the $60,000 thinking that it was coming in for sure. Desperate for our wedding to go ahead. She said the couple then asked their guests to donate what they could afford. I mean, seriously, people, $1,000? What is $1,500? Clearly not a lot. I was like, you didn't have 60 to do it. That's crazy. Like poor chick who thinks she should be rich. That's a bad brand.
Yeah, I mean, this guy... in the end, I guess, kind of lucked out.
It would be quite manageable within budget. I've heard of people asking for worse, she said. No, you haven't.
No, yeah, you for sure have not. Other than maybe like a movie or a TV show.
Yeah, how have you not been embarrassed to do this? And she also set up a GoFundMe that only got $250. I've seen a couple people that I know set up pretty big GoFundMes that are asking for like $100,000 plus, and you go check them out and they have like 80 bucks there.
Really Frank D'Angelo territory right there. That's being frank. We're going to be frank with you. You're not having this wedding, unfortunately.
Paul always says that, like, whenever girls are like, on my birthday, I just want you to donate to, this thing. He says he always keeps track of them and then goes and looks at the GoFundMes and he'll like send them and stuff. And it'll always be like, raised $14, did you?
I mean, if it's for a charity or something, that's fine. But yeah, for just you.
Yeah, but really, if you raise no money, it was just like, you're sort of saying, look how nice I am for raising money. And it's like, well, how much you raised? $14.
Right.
And then he said, the husband said, why don't they just do Vegas to cut it down? And then at this point, she goes, I laughed in his face.
If you wanted to do it at like a Vegas, like Elvis Chapel thing.
But he was dead serious. He wanted those cheap, filthy Vegas weddings. I mean, what the fuck? Is he out of his mind? So she's having a mental breakdown right now. Am I some piece of fucking trash or a hooker? She's having a meltdown. Am I supposed to like the idea of getting married in the heart of shady gamblers, alcoholics, and get rich fast fallacy? Suddenly my body began to shake as I entered a panic attack. So basically your girl says, I need to spend $60,000. You're like, we don't have $60,000. Why don't we do it somewhere else? And now she's having a fucking panic attack.
Well, she goes, no, I told everybody I was having a $60,000 wedding though.
Yeah, and it turns
I can't tell people that we're not doing it.
It turns out that proposing the bad wedding was the move because my ex left the room and didn't apologize. So he got the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And then I called my maid of honor and cried my eyes out. Instead of sympathy, I was told that I was asking too much and to stick to a budget. No one's on this
Everybody's
girl's side.
against her, as they should be.
Ladies, get your act together, okay?
Thankfully, we don't let any ladies even listen to this podcast. But if you're a guy and you got a chick doing this shit, just feel bad for you, man.
Get your act together. This is your options. You save up for a long time and you get married. 2, you have rich parents. 3, one of you is rich. Those are your options.
Yeah.
There is no other option.
Weddings are overrated.
Or option 4 is you incessantly message Mr. Beast and hope he'll cover it.
That's a good option. Because look, so Mr. Beast said he's going to pay for it, but we're both going to be locked in a box on either ends of this room. How does that sound?
Yeah, we get married in a 40-day wedding that we have to stay in a circle for 40 days while we get married.
With our hands on a Lamborghini.
At the end of it, we have to stay with our hands on a Lamborghini for 45 days, and at the end of that, they marry us.
And there's a viper pit
in a castle.
How does that sound?
If anyone asked me to pay money on the wedding like that, I would definitely be calling my agent immediately and be like, we out a weekend, we're going to need to put something on.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I would just be like, no.
He goes, we can only go Pittsburgh again. I go, fine, whatever. Whatever it is.
10 shows in Pittsburgh. Let's do it. Make sure Drake and Bieber are playing that weekend.
Exactly. The attendance wasn't the issue, though. I'm telling you. It was... Ask JJ or Eric. Both of them. Both of those guys were walking off stage before I went on doing one of these. Like they walked off being like, well, I'm telling you, man. People were coming off stage going, all right.
Oh, man.
That was work.
When JJ has a tough one, those are some of the best. Those are some of the best ones. Those are the most enjoyable as a comedian.
Mm-hmm. Well, as of now, the Bugman episode 2 is officially live on patreon.com/theboyscast, as well as a bonus episode every week at patreon.com/theboyscast. See you on the other side.